All right, everyone. So today we're going to talk a little bit about A Bargain So Bloody by Vasila Drake. First of all, I think Vasila Drake is the perfect name for an author of a vampire book, which I think we can all agree. However, this book was amazing. I really enjoyed it. I know it's not a finished series, so just be warned, it will end and we are still waiting for the second book. This this one was recommended, I think, a million times by Book Talk. And so I kind of came into it expecting it to not be as good as it ended up actually being. I think it got added to my one of my favorites of all time that I've read because the storyline was so unique. There wasn't any point in the book where I was like, oh, I could relate that to Blood and Ash, or I could relate that to Akatar. Vasila Drake, this was really her own story and something that she came up with. Not that it's bad to steal like, little plot ideas. It's hard to, it's like music. You sometimes you just don't know where the thought comes from or where you've heard it before and you play it and then it becomes yours. So, but I felt like this was insanely unique for one of these stories. Just so unique, so fun to follow and read. It's not really, I wouldn't call it like a funny book, but in some areas I was laughing because the female main character was just, she didn't see everything, that you were experiencing it from her eyes, but she wasn't seeing the same things that our male main character, Raphael, was experiencing. So she was a little what's it called, or what would you call it, like sheltered. She did grow up in a prison, let's say that, so that could be why. So anyway, let's start off like where we actually start out in the book. I'll let you know when we're getting to the spoilers, but I think the first chapter is pretty fair. So essentially, we have Samara, who is sentenced to, I think it's many years, over a decade in prison. And this prison is nasty. I think really bad third world country prisons. I don't even think a prison today could be this possibly this bad. At least I hope not. She was in charge of catching rats for the cook to put into the stew. And to explain how hungry she ended up just being on a regular basis, it was so gross. The guy who runs it spit in her soup, her rat soup, and she still ate it. Yes. I almost stopped reading there. Trust me, but just keep reading. I was super grossed out too, but I think it makes a point. I hope that scene was needed. However, she stumbles onto a vampire that tries to compel her. She was not able to be compelled. We do not know why. But Raphael was this vampire was not able to compel her. And so this she thinks she's getting out of here in a couple years. She's like, I'm not going to help you escape. Absolutely not. I want to get out of here so I can live my life and be free. And then the main guy, the main like prison ward guy basically says, "You think we're letting you go? You're not ever. You think they're going to remember that you're even here? You're staying here." So this is kind of where she gets the bravery to break out of prison this vampire and just for the retrospect, these vampires are not friendly in this kingdom. There's multiple kingdoms in this story. They are not revered at all. They are considered cruel and vicious creatures, which arguably maybe they have some of those aspects, but not as much as the kingdom that she's currently in is sharing with her. Ultimately, I think this was a very interesting read. It was completely different from anything that I've ever read. If you do not have it on your TBR, I highly recommend that you do add it. It was a pretty short read. I think it took me about 4.5, 5 hours to get through in total. So definitely something that you can do depending on how much time you spend reading a week. You could do in a week or two, maybe three, if you're, not dedicating a whole lot of time to reading. But it was definitely worth it. I'm super excited for the second one. I know that some people will not start a series until it's completed, and I just disagree. Come feel the pain with me. Come feel this cliffhanger, and it's just going to make the second book so much better when you get off that ledge. You've been falling for so long off this cliffhanger, and now you have your answers. So highly recommend you just say, oh no, we're going to read it anyway. And then the second book should be coming out shortly. I want to say 2026, but I'll double check and put it in the comments below. Now for the spoilers, okay? So if you have not read this book yet, please pause, come back, see me later, and we can discuss a little bit more about this book in more detail. And, so pause. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this book. After they've escaped the prison, it kind of goes through this. They're kind of going through this, like, should they stick together? Should they not stick together? And this is where I saw Raphael starting to act a little bit weird towards Samara, especially after she showered and was able to, like, she smelled like a normal person. It doesn't sound like she was able to shower at all based on, kind of the comments in the book, which was, again, gross. But I guess it kind of sets her backstory. So after he was able to smell her, I think something shifted in him. I want to say that there's something in her blood that makes her more attractive, being, the necromancer. But also there's a bit of a fated mate thing going on that we haven't seen yet. Now, I think the trajectory of this character is really interesting, Samara specifically, because she's so quick to believe in the people that have put her in prison and the kingdom that has, done nothing to support her or love her or treat her well and right in this world. And the only person that has, she doesn't trust. It is, I had a really hard time with that throughout the book. I really wanted her to get on board with Raphael maybe a little bit sooner. They shared a couple kisses towards the end of the book, but definitely feeling the slow burn, okay? I would like to swoon. Please, let's pick up the pace. I think that throughout their journey, he showed her time and time again that he can be trusted. And she showed him basically her boot in his butt by the end of it, just absolutely didn't recognize all the things that he was doing for her. To be fair, though, he didn't tell her exactly about what would happen if he drank from her, and that she is his chosen, which to me seems more about like a mating thing than a bloodletting thing. Now, no one's explained it to us, so we'll see what happens then. I was super upset to see that, she tried so hard not to poison Raphael, even though, who listens to the spy master of the king that put you in jail and was going to leave you there to rot? Why would you do this? And also, how does she know the spy master? Is she the daughter of the king, or at least a mistress's daughter of a witch? I'm very curious about this. I have some theories that I'm definitely looking forward to exploring more in the second book. But it is a good question of how is she related to this spy master? How does she know who this person is? She wasn't extremely old by the time that she went into the prison. So she had a few years. I mean, she was in there for a while. I would assume I want to say she was like 12 or something like that, but don't quote me on it. When she went in there, maybe a little bit younger. So this is all that she's known. I can't imagine that she wouldn't have grown up in the castle if that was the case, if she knew the spy master. Because why would she know the spy master? So that was interesting. The second thing is he did end up consuming the blood anyway. It clearly hasn't killed him. She knows she's the necromancer. What does this all mean for their relationship? Is he going to forgive her? Is he going to snap her neck like he has all of her chosen? Or is it the fact that he loves her and will forgive her? Because I think that's what we're leaning towards based on how he's reacted to most things. He's been the most supportive, caring, I mean, just genuinely good. I know that vampires have to drink blood, and I know that that was difficult for them. But I think that it's a very interesting, you know, thought process is how is this going to continue to go on? Is he going to forgive her? Is he going to love her? What's next? Certainly her guard does not feel like he's going to be as forgiving as she wants him to be. So pause this and we'll come back as soon as the second book releases, and we'll come and get excited together over what fan theories I was right about. Maybe most of them that I was wrong about. So maybe some that I had questions about. But I am very curious. I mean, we all know that I think Samira is some type of half witch of some kind in her power. She just hasn't come into them. And maybe that's something Raphael knows. But we'll see. We'll see you again when the second book comes out. Thanks everyone for watching.